What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Civilization 5 realistic world AI only battle. Nearly forgot it all together in there. Got another episode, just another little episode. The Zulu currently invading Carthage. Pretty interesting. Oh wow, Egypt's making some progress. 70 turns to go until there is a winner. We'll probably go a bit further off video, so I'll just do the update sort of thing. But yeah, we will try push it on a bit more than that. But yeah, 400 will be the results episode time. If you're just, don't worry, don't panic, it's all good. Carthage, do peace out with the Ottomans. That's good news, not really, for anyone. I mean, I guess it works for, look at this pikeman, he was trying, but probably a bit of a stretch. Carthage also piecing out with Russia. I mean, they almost border each other by some miracle, but no, not to be much going on there. Britain now has great war infantry, which is definitely going to strengthen them if they had to expand, and artillery, although they only have one or two, but that's going to be useful. Mongolia has just completed Cristo Redentor. Nice little wonderful, and this is terrifying. I'm so happy they're not using this to full force, because you guys would be ripping me to shreds if they were doing, really well. Well, they are doing really well, but, if they were just destroying civs left, right, and centre, then I would probably be in a lot of abuse from you guys, I imagine. So this is good. I mean, this is pretty bad, but we'll see if this falls anytime soon. Mongolia, these planes, I don't think are actually having the impact. I don't think it's the planes that are doing this. They're fighters, so probably not. Do have a bomber over there, which will be helpful. But yeah, I think this is mostly just down to brave paratroopers. I think there was a lot more that died already. Maybe the planes are doing a bit more, I don't know. But either way, they're making good progress. They might grab this city. It's going to be back and forth. Persia has plenty of units, artillery, rocket artillery, which is the most advanced unit, and mobile SAMs, which will be shooting those planes down. Bit of a weird mismatch. Persia have managed to somehow, I know there are a few techs behind, but they are managing to sort of, what's the word? They're just they're picking the right techs. I think Mongolia are 3 ahead, but it's one of those sections in the tech tree where there'll be 6 technologies, and Persia will have a couple of them, and maybe Mongolia has 5 or 6 of them. So at least in some regions, Persia can compete, and if they go for the smart move, go for stuff like anti-air weapons, that could be really useful for them. Shaka he's going to capture another city in Europe, isn't he? He's going to grab this. If Britain doesn't get involved soon, this is going to be a Zulu city. This is going to be such a weird game for Shaka. Got to appreciate it. I mean, I would have appreciated if he'd done a bit better, but we can't have it all, can we? Just can't expect everything, I guess. Maybe one day I'll pick a winner, or I'll just fake it. Maybe I'll delete episode 1 at the end of the series, bring it back with me predicting the winner. That'd be kind of funny. But no, there we go. Adrianople has fallen. Egypt controlling the North African coast, kind of. I mean, the Zulu are here as well, but yeah, they kicked Byzantium out, and they're now just down to 2 cities, sort of forming a small, basic, what the Ottoman Empire was. I guess probably closer to what the Byzantine Empire was. But yeah, part of Turkey and the Balkans. I'd like to see them hold on to it. I wonder, I don't know how much of these tiles are sort of connected to which city. I mean, I assume this is all Graz, but then I wonder how much, this is probably all Constantinople. Quite a bit of land still, basically, and sea under their control, considering they only have 2 cities, basically. I mean, again, it's like here with the UK. If you took Paris, I wonder, would you get all of this, or how much is associated with all these other cities? Oh my goodness, this Hun's fleet up here. If they can start to get this into battleships, and not frigates, they already have frigates. Great war bombers. Oh, and there we go, Mongolia with their first chunk out of Persia. This is going to make that scoreboard, or not scoreboard, that top 10 far more interesting, because the top 6 definitely seems settled, but maybe Persia gets set back even further than 6th place if this goes really badly. I think they're probably about 3rd at the moment, so they've got some work to do. I think the Korea 2nd, I'm guessing. They look like they are. They're in a similar position to Persia. Again, with these infantry, that shows they're ahead of Mongolia in some elements. Because Mongolia still have great war infantry, but then they do have paratroopers. So obviously, they're just all sort of picking different parts. It's just Mongolia, obviously, off over it. They do now have their own rocket artillery, so sometimes it's just a matter of producing the things you need. imagine Mongolia have a lot of resources tied up in other units, so sometimes some will need to die before they can build new ones which need the same resources. Even with all the resources they probably have access to. Took them long enough to get planes. I don't know whether that was by choice. I mean, it's appearing like it was. Like, I can't imagine they just grabbed a city that allowed them to, you know, get 6 planes. Unless this city has oil. That's a potential one. Yeah, that seems unlikely. It looks like maybe they just opted to not have it, which is, I mean, fair enough. If you don't need it. They have so many units. Obviously, there's disadvantages to being this big. You have to have stuff pretty much everywhere. The Korea putting some warnings up. Okay. Korea, you need to stop settling, please. That can't be a real name. That has to be an issue with there just being too many cities. That is hilarious. A Korea city. I wonder what happens next. Probably breaks the game, doesn't it? That's kind of scary. Let's not think about that. There we go. Iroquois versus Great Britain. That's going to be an interesting one across the Atlantic. Persia retook their city. I think that's going to be forward and backwards quite a bit. And the Huns v Britain. Oh, finally, Scandinavia. This is sort of it's going to be an interesting sort of two-front attack here. I don't think the Iroquois will send that much, but there's a race between the Iroquois and the Cree to grab these islands. I imagine Cree will get this one. Iroquois will grab this one afterwards. Unless they go for this corner of Spain, which is also pretty possible. Imagine Mongolia is about to grab that city back. But yeah, the Huns could do some damage here. They've got plenty of boats up here, so they've been waiting for this. So did Britain, obviously, so it'll be a fantastic naval battle. See if they can cut off the British trade. And yeah, this is going to be quite interesting. I think it's a pretty even match in terms of what can fight. Obviously, overall, the Huns much stronger, but a lot of this eastern stuff, like all this stuff in the south of Russia, because it's so weird, they're split in two. The southern part of the Hunnic Empire, that can't contribute at all, unless they get open borders, which will be unlikely. But yeah, the northern part, that's probably, and what they're actually going to get over is probably an equal match. The only concern will be that the planes come into sort of these coastal cities up here in Scandinavia. That will give them a strong advantage, because Britain yet to grab any planes, so that's a little bit scary. We'll see how that plays out. Zulu have not yet had much success. Britain do get the advantage of getting the strike back again this turn. It wasn't like they'd already been this turn, and it was a bonus turn for the Huns. But there you go. They do get to have a little bit of an attack back. This is going to be quite an exciting one. That's all we needed. It's one of those ones where we don't really know what's going to happen. But I don't feel like it will be a stalemate. I don't know. I think the Huns might get something out of this. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a huge naval battle. That's definitely going to be a part of this. My concern would be that even if Britain hold off the Huns, that will probably be them exhausted in terms of units till the end of the game. Yeah, they probably need to make this work. Britain, just throw everything at it. Maybe you can conquer these cities while they're poorly defended on the land. Maybe that works for you. Shaka should grab this. Should. Probably peace out and give cities back. Yeah, he should take this, and that'll just leave Madrid. I don't know whether he'll get to that. It's not coastal, which is where they've had most of their success. But you never know. I don't know if he's going to still go for it. It doesn't make much sense. He's got his forces going off somewhere else, so he's very trusting in the Songhai not to invade. They've been very quiet recently, the last couple of... I can't remember before I went away, but definitely the last episode they didn't do anything. This episode they're looking pretty quiet. And Egypt, oh, that is a blow. Yeah, they did not get many tiles actually with the city of Graz, but they got it in the peace deal. Byzantium looking pretty small now. Just Constantinople and Iceland. Don't forget Iceland, all important city. The Iroquois settler seems to have gone backwards or just not moved. The Cree will get to this island first, which is I assume where they're going. If they settle here, that would be hilarious, but I think that's where they're going. I keep forgetting, the Zulu do just have some random cities, like this one in Chile is beyond me, and it looks like the Corral might actually have their eyes on that, and they actually have another one coming over. There's no space here, so I don't know where it's going, to be exact. The Inca have a plane before Brazil. That's going to turn the tide, because Brazil finally have in these cities finally get some boats, which was going to be useful, particularly against Chichen Itza. If this war's to break out again, it probably won't. They seem pretty cool with each other now. And I think the Kerala safe too behind the mountains. So yeah, South America, pretty chill with each other. Maybe they'll team up to push the Iroquois out or something. They won't attack Mongolia, even if, they could push them out. They're just not going to, in their mind, like, the numbers are too much. They can't do it. I still love that Mongolia has Central America. That's fantastic. And the Panama Canal, like, they did not need that advantage, but there you go. They have it. I wonder if the Cree will go after the Iroquois. It looks like they're actually considering it right now, doesn't it? They've just got a lot of stuff grouped up here. It would be very interesting, especially if the Iroquois threw a lot at the UK. Which doesn't look like they will do. The UK does have some boats all the way out here to have a look, but there's Hunnic units all over the place to also make this quite difficult. We'll see how it all pans out. Arabia v Byzantium. Arabia, a bit of a dark horse for that top 10. Definitely a contender at the moment. They're pretty big. If Persia was to really fall, then they could have a chance of getting in the top 6. Although, I don't know, the Zulu, Brazils, those civs are still very strong. There's a lot of strong civs in the world. Mongolia not quite in just yet, and there we go. Shaka did manage to grab this city in southern France. Very impressive. And the Shoshone is also in that war against Byzantium. So, yeah, that doesn't matter too much. Byzantium are very safe. Actually, I was going to say Shoshone could get Iceland, but no, that would be the Iroquois. Shoshone are on the other side. They have a load of planes. Oh, yeah, I touched on this, how Mongolia didn't. Mongolia has so many cities in this region. They're just pumping boats out. And again, their names, I think, are just being plucked from elsewhere now. I don't think there's a Mongolian city called Cleveland. But you never know. Maybe. I think it's just starting to pluck them away from other vanilla civs at this point. Manaus, yeah, that's a Brazilian city. Bamako is Mali. Oh, Songhai. But it's much earlier for Mali, the mod, I think. If you use Mali mod. But it is also Songhai. We're in a similar area, so that does make sense. But yeah, Songhai, just starting to steal some other cities. Phoenice, that sounds Carthage, Phoenicia with Dido, I guess. Yeah, I think it is just picking out some random ones now for them. Don't worry, I mean, it can't be worse than the Cree's name. Is there a city somewhere just called a Mongol city? Like, that would be amazing. I don't think... Oh, I want to see the Cree. If they settle this island, would it just be called a Cree city too? Like the sequel? That would be pretty funny. But yeah, obviously Mongolia pushing the limit. And the Cree. I mean, the Cree, it's kind of expected they would have less because they're a mod. But the Cree, I mean, they haven't settled that many of these cities. I mean, there's a fair few that are their settlements, but a lot of them are taken. These are Aztecs, Sioux. Yeah, a bit surprised, but I guess they did just spam the Pacific with settlers. That kind of makes sense. Maybe there is one just called a Cree city. I don't know. But yeah, Mongolia at least is definitely just picking random ones from other civs. I mean, the Huns had a weird point as well. I mean, they finally do have Attila's court. Pueblo Nuevo. I mean, I don't know, the Huns always steal people's names. I was going to say, that does not sound Hunnic. Hukan Deka? Okay. But yeah, Attila's court, like, that is... I don't know why it didn't start. Like I said, I think I may have done something with the settler that caused some issues. I don't know. Maybe I gave them an extra one and the other one didn't settle. If I gave them two and the original one didn't settle first, that might have caused it. Maybe. And then once it reached like the end, maybe that's when Attila's court came in. Although that doesn't really make sense either, because the Huns are the ones that won't have an end to their city names. Bit weird. Oh, I really want to look into things, because the Zulu, I don't know how to rank these civs. Like, in my head I'm trying, because obviously I've got to do the info addicts in 65 turns now. But yeah, I mean, obviously here we knew this. Like, it's not a spoiler. Mongolia is winning. Like, that's not a surprise. They're not going to lose. So if you pick Mongolia, good job. I just want to... Yeah, okay. The Korea's pretty dominant second, which is something I said as well. But it's still pretty open. I mean, further down it's a bit more open. But all the ones that really... Jesus. 63 cities for Mongolia. 29 for the Korea. 24 Huns. 15 Persia. Down to about 8 for Britain. I love how we try to contrast these civs and say that they are comparable. Mongolia is so far out in front. Yeah, the Korea and Mongolia are both out ahead. I mean, the Korea are not competing with Mongolia, but no one's competing with the Korea either. So that's something to bear in mind. So first and second is probably wrapped up. I don't think Mongolia would invade the Korea. I just don't see it happening before the end. Korea, if they take out the Iroquois, I don't know if that would... I don't think that would put them into first place. I mean, it would be another 7 cities or 8, maybe 9. Like, that's, yeah, they're not going to be able to compete with Mongolia, but it would definitely put them even in a good spot. I'm sure it might happen. There we go. That is the peace deal the Persians really needed. That was where the damage was really being done by the Incans, who are completely landlocked in theory. They're not, but they can't build boats here because it's a puppet. That's what we need to see. Nope. Tanis. I don't know if that's a Cree name or a stolen name, but assuming that the previous one was a Cree city, probably a stolen name from elsewhere. We'll see. So Britain's already sent some Gatling guns at the very least over here to do some damage. The Hunnic planes have not arrived, and these boats have not tried to leave this area. Bit weird. Maybe they're waiting for backup. Plenty more over here. These riflemen are in a very bad spot. Already some early wins for Britain. A lot of these, I don't know, these boats are still around. They just haven't pushed too much. But yeah, like this one's in a bit of a tough spot. There is now a British battleship. That's going to be so important in this battle to defend the Channel and the North Sea. Very important. The Huns have one as well, but it's not leaving just yet. They are the most advanced sea units either of them have, and they both have one of them, so that's kind of exciting. Let's just have a look at the military manpower for these two. I assume the Huns are winning, but like I said, obviously half the Hunnic strength is in the south, which just can't do anything. Yeah, the Huns are in 4th, Britain are in 9th, so 130k difference, and yeah, I would say there's more than 130k troops worth in here. I mean, there's the 2 more Hunnic battleships here, machine guns, a privateer in the Mediterranean, more in the Caspian Sea. Yeah, I would say a good amount of Hunnic strength. I mean, 6 planes. I mean, all of this, yeah, definitely. I mean, they can actually go through Mongolia and around, but like that's not going to happen. That would take the AI like 65 turns. Don't worry about that. How is this going? So Persia took it back, and they have very bravely held on to it. They're the first civ to say no to Mongolia. I mean, India did famously in this series, but Persia took them out in the end, or didn't quite. They're still here. Gandhi's still here. They better hope there's no uranium in here, or Mongolia's doomed. Like, I can see it. Like, Karakorum's actually the closest, one of the closest cities. Just drop some nuclear missiles, ruin the Mongolian Empire. That could happen. I mean, I don't think. Like, I could delete this city, or if I could, and did it, it wouldn't like stop Mongolia winning, and that's saying something. Because usually, if a civ loses its capital, it's a very bad sign. I think this game is just not the case like that. Just a bit paranoid. I thought that there was a spider in my room the other day. There was 2 actually on the same day. As some of you in the Discord found out. So I just started looking around my room and I just thought, oh my goodness, what if I see one? I think we're good for now. That's good. That's just what we need. None of them. But yeah, Mongolia, not yet going after India. They're starting to push through in the north though. It's kind of scary. But yeah, valiant effort from Persia for now to defend themselves. They're throwing everything at it. A big win for them is that Mongolia is putting a lot of land units in the sea here. These submarines will just be able to pick them off. And obviously the Mongolian Navy, it can come round. It's got to go the long way round, but I don't think Japan is giving them access for obvious reasons. That's pretty brave. If I was Japan, I would be allying Mongolia, getting them to help me out, trying to steal away every city they go for on the coasts, but that's obviously just not their plan. They've actually rebuilt in Japan. They looked very vulnerable at one point, but they seem to have rebuilt up from that period of time where it looked like it could very quickly flip on its head for them and be a struggle. I wonder what Russia does. The Huns are finally doing something, which means maybe this is their chance to do something else. We obviously saw them take Vienna, which gave them a huge chunk of Central Europe with it as well in this region. What could they do next? I mean, they're clearly not going to go after the Huns at this point. But their only other border is with Mongolia. I mean, I guess they could go after the UK. I mean, if they just put everything along the coast in terms of units that they have, I don't know, they don't have any planes yet, but just have their stuff along the coast, maybe put their bulk of their force here and try and force their way into Paris. Don't think it would be easy, but there's literally nothing else they could do. If they're not going to go after the Huns, like, they can't do anything else. maybe have some melee units in this region, in the Baltic Sea, just ready for if the UK is put into the red by the Huns. This battleship is making its move. We'll see how it goes. The Huns attacking Birmingham, and Britain not really ready to defend it. In fact, they must have taken a pretty big losses in a few turns. I mean, the Huns actually moved their planes further away, so they're obviously not too concerned that this is going to go badly just yet. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, they've got to be scared of this threat in the east. It is Mongolia. They're pretty safe for now, but I mean, Mongolia could easily be fighting on 3 or 4 fronts. I mean, look at this. They can easily keep the fight up against Persia with this. This stuff could go and head towards Japan in the Pacific, or on just mainland Japan. Then all these units in screen now could come up towards the Huns, or I don't know. And I mean, all these boats could probably take on the Shoshone. Obviously, it's just the issue that only one of the cities is actually coastal. Isn't going to help, but pretty difficult for Mongolia without some land units. But yeah, they could at least be fighting here or anywhere else in the Pacific, to be honest. They have so many units. Don't know why everyone's so scared of Hawaii. I mean, the Kree literally went out and grabbed a load of useless islands. No offense to anyone living there watching these videos. I doubt there is, but if there is, I'm sure they're not useless in real life. I imagine they're amazing. Although this one is probably full of spiders and other horrible snakes and stuff. And this one. This one looks nice. Look, just desert hills. A few atolls though, which means there might be some radiation there. Maybe you don't want to live there. Maybe I retract that one. That was probably a nuke. These were probably all nuclear testing sites. Never mind. Move on. These islands still empty. The Galapagos is empty. I'm sure the Kree will be grabbing them sooner or later. Are you trading with yourself? Like that. That's just a sign that they settled the city. It wasn't working at all, but they don't want it to fail in front of Mongolia. They're too embarrassed. They're just funneling all their food into it. That's quite funny. There's settlers going the opposite way. Mongolia heading east, Kree heading west. Maybe this will grab Hawaii. Not sure why no one's gone for it yet. There's even a resource there. Like, it would make sense. There's gold. There's more land tiles eventually than all the other ones. Yeah, it doesn't really make all that much sense to ignore it. Another Mongolian settler. Orenburg. Typical Swedish city name, I believe. Or Danish. They're the Scandinavian civs in Civ 5, aren't there? There's no Norway. At least the Iroquois keep it to their name. No one's gone for Greenland. I mean, for obvious reasons. Maybe some borders would grab it one day. But yeah, Britain and the Huns. Already the British Navy seems a bit weaker. Seems like they're thinning out, and the Huns haven't even really thrown much at it yet. Let's see how they do this turn. Yeah, Birmingham is definitely going to fall. Maybe we overestimated the UK a bit. I've got to try that. My home civ. We got to give them a chance. I guess. Probably should do that. It does look like Russia might actually be heeding my advice. I don't know. They were probably like this before, but it does look like maybe they're going this way. They finally got a Cossack unit. I feel like they're a bit late. Even compared to Russia's other units, they look a bit late. I think Russia's going to be a threat. Before the end of this game, if they can get access to artillery, they can still do some damage to somebody like the UK. I don't see them doing much else unless Mongolia takes them out, which would be pretty scary. I mean, a huge Hunnic-Russian war I think everyone wants to see. But I think Russia and the Huns are too scared of going to war with each other because Mongolia would come in and clean them both up pretty quickly. Persia with a pretty emphatic defense. They lost this city, but now there's just spread out Mongolian units. It's going horribly wrong. I think Genghis probably has a few too many units to manage. He can't afford them all. Production is saving him right now because I know he's embargoed and losing about 2,000 gold per turn. So they will all be disappearing. Apparently I'm at war with the Ottomans. I think I had to move them. Well, not move them. No, I did have to move some of the civs. I don't know why I had to move the Ottomans. I don't think I did, but it does say minor. Maybe it says that on all of them. Oh yeah, it does. Now, no, it doesn't say it on Persia's though. I don't know why I'm at war with some of the civs and not some of the others. I know I had to do stuff with a giant death robot to some of them. I think I wanted to kill some units for some of them. I don't know, I did something at the start that needed it. I don't know why I'd need to move civs though. So, because it's not like I used any of them that close. But I definitely had to do it for some reason. I think it was just where I misclicked and gave people like the wrong... Oh, I killed all the gauchos. That's what it was. I was like, what did I do? We had that weird bug with the Argentinian cavalry units spawning at the start of the game. I don't know what happened there. I don't know where they came from. The Argentina mod is on, but it doesn't work, so I really don't know where they came from. That was very weird. But yeah, that was why I was killing them. I remember now. Britain, an invasion of the Iroquois would be fun, but, you know, you should probably defend the cities you already have, you know? Usually how the world works. I'll leave you to it. You seem to know what you're doing. Shaka, you have been a letdown. Like, you're probably going to get in the top 10, which I guess for me, one of my picks is pretty good. I think the last 4 series or something like that, a ridiculous amount of times in the proper series, not the mini ones. I've managed to pick my pick's been like the first one eliminated. Definitely was in Atlanta Europa, and I think in teams as well. Maybe the teams are only battle, but definitely Atlanta Europa. I picked the Vandals, and well, no, they let me down in the very second episode. Got my hopes up in the first one. Within about 2 minutes of the second one, they had completely just given up, rolled over, and left. Okay, so Britain now has 2 battleships, 3 actually, but none of them are helping. What are you doing? Why? Okay, well, they deserve this. The Huns, I'm rooting for the Huns now. I've changed my mind. I want to see the Huns like conquer the Baltic Sea and then attack Russia from about 7 different directions. That just to finish off. And if they could take all of it, they would look huge. And they would actually be able to put up a pretty good fight against Mongolia if they had time and they just avoided war with each other. Because I think the Huns would have all round probably. The cities would be better quality. Like, no offense, Mongolia. I mean, 18s, 17s. There are good ones in here, but yeah, I feel they just have a lot. I mean, there's a lot of 14s actually just out here, but a lot of them are very small. I think Mongolia could definitely put up a fight. Like, obviously Mongolia is playing ridiculously tall, or wide, I should say. I think it's wide. I don't know. Whichever one fits. There we go. The Songhai second civ to grab the Manhattan Project. The Songhai Mongolia is playing really wide, have lots of cities, but lots of cities only gives you an advantage to a certain... I feel like each one is less valuable than the previous one, obviously, which is like law of diminishing returns, I think. Something like that. But yeah, each city sort of less valuable than the previous one, and quite drastically. So if Mongolia were to settle 5 cities now, it would be far less effective than if Brazil was. Obviously, there's not really space for it to work now, but when the cities were being settled. So if the Huns took out all of Russia, that would be far more valuable than if, say, Mongolia conquered, I don't know, Japan, maybe. I just think they're getting less science and everything per city. As useful as they are, I think that's how it works. Possibly. It seems that way, because Mongolia should, in theory, be twice as good in every category as everyone, but they're not. They're like 25, 30% maybe ahead in some of them. But yeah, they're not double as good as everyone else. Everyone else combined could probably put a stop to them. I just don't. They couldn't coordinate it because the AI is so dumb. But like, if you gave one human player control of every other civ in the world, they could definitely take down Mongolia. That's how I think. I don't think I could, but I'm sure there are. You guys probably could. If I just gave you every civ, you took each one's turn, or they just merged into one weird super civ, then I'm sure you could do it. Like, the Kree's definitely got enough fire. I mean, look at the info addict. It pretty much tells us that, I think. Mongolia, 800,000. I mean, the Kree and the Songhai together, if they could coordinate it, and obviously they're too far away, but they could do it together. Yet Mongolia have more cities than, like, the rest of them. Both of them combined and so on. So yeah, the soldiers obviously not as beneficial. Also, that doesn't look right. I mean, I haven't looked much at the Songhai this episode at all. But are they really the same strength as the Kree? I mean, the Kree look... I mean, this area is pretty empty. And I mean, in Mongolia, really only 300,000 ahead? They have a lot. They're terrifying. But that is going to be it for this episode. As always, if you have enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Be sure to subscribe as well if you're new to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.